Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a really fascinating psychological framework to dissect a highly impactful Clifton Strengths theme. It's called individualization. Whether you actually have this trait yourself, or maybe you just work alongside someone who does, truly understanding its anatomy is a real game changer. It can completely transform how you view talent and team dynamics. So let's hook right into this concept by picturing a specific scenario. Think about your own team right now. Who's that one leader or that one colleague who just naturally seems to know exactly what makes everyone tick? You know exactly the person I'm talking about, right? The one who effortlessly places people in the absolute perfect roles where they don't just survive, they totally thrive. It's like they have this sixth sense for human potential. And that brings us to the SwitchOn Strengths framework, which brilliantly illustrates how identifying this specific trait can activate some seriously untapped human potential in your workplace. The core philosophy here is simple, but man, is it profound. Discover, activate, thrive. When we discover a trait like individualization and figure out how to properly activate it, entire organizations can thrive, mainly because people are finally being seen for who they truly are. Now, notice the core metaphor here. People with the individualization theme are essentially casting directors. Think about a movie set. A casting director doesn't just hire warm bodies to fill space. They use this deep, intuitive intelligence about people to spot unique talent, and then they position actors in the precise roles that will make the whole movie shine. Well, in the workplace, individuals with this trait are doing the exact same thing. They are the ultimate talent spotters. Okay, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll meet the casting director. 2, value and communication style. 3, what this strength needs. 4, the balcony, strengths in action. 5, the basement, pitfalls and blind spots. And 6, contrasting with other themes. Let's jump right into section 1. Meet the casting director and unpack their core identity. The defining mark of this identity is that they absolutely do not use a one-size-fits-all approach, ever. Instead, they are highly observant, they're deeply people-oriented, and they instinctively adapt their communication to how different individuals think and respond. If they're talking to someone who loves data, they're going to speak in numbers. If they're talking to someone who needs a real emotional connection, they'll lead with empathy. They're basically constantly adjusting their dial to match your specific frequency. Moving right along to section 2, value and communication style, and what they actually bring to the table. Their core contribution, pure customization. They recognize individual strengths and differences almost instantly. They just naturally help others feel seen and valued, making diverse groups work together seamlessly. Because they understand people so deeply and accurately, they're kind of the glue that can take a group of wildly different personalities and turn them into a highly productive unit. They create these amazing environments where being unique isn't a liability. It's actually the team's greatest asset. All right, section 3, what this strength needs, or to put it another way, their ideal environment. The absolutely crucial point here is freedom. People with this trait will literally suffocate in rigid, highly standardized systems. If you force a casting director to manage everyone exactly the same way, strictly by some corporate manual, you are completely killing their superpower. They desperately need the flexibility to build people-centered solutions. They need the freedom to treat people uniquely, because they know, for a fact, that treating everyone exactly the same is actually the most inefficient way to manage a diverse team. Now for section 4, we're heading up to the balcony, strengths in action. This illustrates a totally fascinating paradox. You'd think that treating everyone differently would cause division, right? But focusing intensely on individual differences is actually their secret weapon for creating deep team unity. When they are operating at their peak, up in the balcony, it does the exact opposite of dividing people. Because everyone feels perfectly understood and properly utilized, the whole team locks together like pieces of a giant, complex puzzle. When they're in the balcony, they're actively using these specific skills to foster some really profound collaboration. They see true potential where other people just see a resume. And most importantly, they create a genuine sense of belonging across the organization through that personalized understanding. People don't feel like just cogs in a machine. They feel like valued experts in their specific domain. But of course, what goes up must come down. Section 5, the basement, looking at the pitfalls and blind spots. So this shows the dark side of the trait. Imagine that movie set again, but the casting director lets every single actor rewrite their own script and set their own call times just to maximize their personal comfort. Total chaos, right? The noble desire to customize the experience for absolutely everyone can actually fracture the team's cohesion. When the casting director gets trapped in the basement, they become so obsessed with individual accommodation that the larger goals of the group completely fall by the wayside. The SwitchOn Strengths framework highlights a major catch here. Because they focus so intensely on the individual, they naturally develop some pretty significant blind spots regarding broader group dynamics. They might even assume that others understand people as intuitively as they do, which leads to immense frustration when other managers just apply standard, blanket policies. You can actually watch this build into a step-by-step deterioration. Step 1, they overfocus on individual differences. Step 2, they constantly make custom arrangements, tipping the scales so heavily that they actually start to appear biased or inconsistent to the outside world. People start asking, hey, why does Sarah get to do it that way when I have to do it this way? And finally, step 3, by completely neglecting standardized systems, the unified team basically shatters. The very thing they wanted to build, unity, is ironically destroyed by over-customization. Let's wrap things up with Section 6, contrasting with other themes to establish some clear boundaries. This contrast is incredibly revealing. Individualization says, I know who you are. It's highly observational. It's about spotting unique talent and understanding a person's makeup. The relator trait, on the other hand, says, I want to know you and I want you to know me. Relator is driven by a two-way, mutual relationship and deepening a friendship. Someone with individualization doesn't necessarily need to be your best friend. They just need to figure out exactly how you operate so they can help you succeed. And this comparison perfectly brings us back to our casting director metaphor. Individualization always prioritizes the unique human before the system or the role. They look at the person and say, wow, you are incredibly talented at X. Let's build a role around that. Conversely, the arranger trait looks at the system first. Okay, we have this complex job that needs doing. Who is the best piece to plug into this gap? For individualization, it is always person first. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. You now know the anatomy of the individualization trait. You know its immense power up in the balcony and its serious risks down in the basement. So how can you apply this casting director mindset to better understand and empower just one person on your team tomorrow? Challenge yourself this week. Look past the job description, see the unique human beings standing right in front of you, and help them step into the role they were truly born to play.